to be pretty careful because we were a weak nation. And we did that for a great many years. Mr. Nehru is doing something like that today. He's trying awfully hard to keep his country neutral because he feels that the necessity for his country is to meet some of the domestic needs. He feels his country has got to have primary education given to all the children. Well, that is taxing the economy of the country to the limit. Because when you have a population of 360 million, it means quite a lot to give even elementary education to all the children. And their schools are not like ours. It's a very different thing for children to go to school in India. I wonder if you realize that they don't have paper and books and pencils. The children come with little wooden boards which their parents have made out of soft wood, and they polished them highly, and they found for them some little instrument that has a point, a piece of hardwood or a little bit of metal, and it's with that that they make their characters on the wooden board. Nobody has a place. If a schoolroom with 3 classes, they don't have any furniture, they sit on the hard baked earth, which is the floor. And if they have 1 blackboard and 2 pieces of chalk, that schoolroom is well off. No one steps on a piece of chalk. Its value is very great. And when I used to think over there of my own grandchildren and the amount of paper I'd seen wasted and pencils I'd seen lost, I used to wonder how we ever could bring home to our people what it meant to live with so little to help you develop. And yet that is what the United Nations is really trying to do. Now, I get frequently from people all over this country letters that say, how can you expect the United Nations to succeed when you don't acknowledge God in the United Nations? And whenever I get that letter, I feel like sighing because it shows such great lack of understanding. And in a way, I always want to tell people of the amount of real understanding that all of us have to acquire if we're going to understand the peoples of the world. Now, I had a very good experience. I was having a discussion with several other people after lunch one afternoon, and I thought it was an important discussion. And Sir Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, was with us. And suddenly he bowed to me and he said, Madame will excuse me. And he left. And I said, oh, what did I say that was wrong? What did I do to hurt his feelings? And I turned to someone who came from his part of the world and I said, what is the matter with Sir Zafullah? And the man looked at his watch and said, oh, nothing. He'll be back in a little while. This is the hour when he has to go alone and pray. And I thought, why on earth at this particular moment does he have to go alone and pray? And it crossed my mind that I was getting letters saying, why don't you open your sessions at 11 o'clock with prayer? And I thought, well, I better not question that he has to go alone and pray at that particular time. So I better try and find out more about it. So that Christmas, I happened to have with us a young Pakistani student. And I was telling him that I hoped he'd do whatever he cared to do, that were our customs, But of course I would understand when he didn't want to do anything. And it led to a discussion of his religion. And I told him the story of Sir Zafrullah. And he said, "Oh, but Mrs. Roosevelt, didn't you know? That is one of the most important times for a good Muslim to pray." And I said, "Really, why?" And he said, "Why, it is the time when we are apt to be most busy with our worldly affairs. If we have to go alone and pray, we are reminded of the highest standards by which we should live, and we are less apt to be tempted to do wrong." I thought, well, that isn't such a bad idea. But I hadn't understood it in the least. And the more I have been with people from other areas of the world, the more I have come to believe that the moment of silence with which we open is probably the best thing, because you must have respect for other people's customs if they're going to respect yours. And I've come to believe that God is perhaps called many different names throughout the world, but that there is no place where people are really trying to do good where God is not present. And I doubt if any of the people there in the United Nations who really want to grow in world understanding ever go in without a prayer in their heart. And so I've come to feel that God is very present in the United Nations, and that because some people say Allah, there's no reason why we should think less of their devotion to God, or of God's feeling for all of his children, wherever they are found in the world. So that's one of the things that I think we need to learn. And we need also to realize what these agencies do. UNESCO, for instance, is trying to spread knowledge about the United Nations through meetings of scientists, through meetings of philosophers, through publication of books, through, it has now 2 centers for fundamental education, one in Mexico and one in Egypt. Now, fundamental education means that you try to train teachers who are going back into backward areas, and you not only help them in how they should teach reading, writing, and arithmetic, but you help them to teach one step up in sanitation, for instance, one step in improved agriculture, and perhaps you help them as to ways in which they can teach the first step of cooperation in local government. That's a very important thing, and I hope those centers will be increased in different parts of the world. And when people tell you that the specialized agencies, any of them, are under communist control, just remember one thing: the Soviets do not belong to a single specialized agency. Perhaps they don't want to give the money, I don't know. But at least they don't think it worthwhile to try and exert their influence there. And so we do belong to all the specialized agencies. And when you were told tonight of what our minimum contribution is, I think you should know, too, that our whole overall contribution to every one of the specialized agencies, to technical assistance, to all that we do in Point 4, and it's growing less all the time, to the Children's Fund, which is helping all over the world to increase the food available to children. And many, many children are hungry all the time in many areas of the world. Now, all of our contributions to all those things, either through our own government or through the United Nations, costs us about 76 cents a year. And if you compare that with what we spend on preparations for defense and on past wars, I think you will think it's not too much to risk in trying to build an atmosphere in which peace can grow. I don't know if we'll succeed. I haven't any idea, but this organization is alive and working. To be sure, there are long arguments in the General Assembly and in the councils and in the other meetings. You try to meet with people from 59 other nations and come to an understanding quickly. You find it takes a lot of words. I used to get awfully weary of arguing with the Soviet Union, but I always thought there still was a reason why you should do it, because you never could tell when the pressure of world opinion would bring some result. And so I personally think that all the arguments, all the efforts at understanding have value. I know we probably have great difficulties. We may have many little wars. But just as long as we stay together and move forward step by step, I think it's worth the effort and worth the money we put into it. And it won't work unless the people make it work. And you, each one of you, carries a responsibility to make this machinery work. And at the same time, you are fighting for your belief in a democratic way of life and your type of government, a republic with representative government. Because believe me, that though we need military strength, and though we need economic strength, without moral and spiritual leadership, and without the growth of understanding among the peoples, so that there is a real feeling that the peoples of the world actually may work together for their mutual benefit, we will not win out in the struggle against communism. We have to make it clear that we really care about the well-being of people, not just in our own country, that we care for the world as a whole. Of course, we think of our own country first, but remember that the world has grown very small, and that sometimes it is only as you think of other countries that you serve your own country. It's quite possible that what we do for other nations today may be of benefit to our children and our grandchildren in the future. I think we were meant to be the leaders, or we would never have been spared in the last war. We were left with the greatest strength. And many of the young people here who fought in the last war saw what devastation in your own country can mean. I saw a great deal of what happened in countries which I had known well before the last war. And I know what it can mean to people when war is on your own doorstep. And I know that we can today destroy our civilization if we want to destroy it. We have developed the H-bomb, and it will take very too little to destroy our civilization. So I think we have the incentive to work as we have never worked before for the kind of feeling in the world that lets people grow in understanding. And I think we in this country have the courage, and we can have the vision. And I think we can have the persistence to struggle through all the difficulties. And I'm not going to minimize them. They're going to be many, and they're going to require sacrifice. But I think it's worth it for the future of our own country and the future of our children.
Thank you, Mrs. Roosevelt. Mrs. Roosevelt and Mr. Clark Arkelberger will welcome questions from the audience now for this over to Mr. Clark Arkelberger at this time.